Hello everyone, Cam Football Vlogs here. I'm barely awake after that old firm, and today we're going to be doing our reaction video on Rangers now, Celtic now. Old Firm, the greatest derby in the world, outstanding standards. This huge game, the first Old Firm of the season. You're expecting goals, you're expecting big meaty challenges, but that was boring. In my opinion, personally, I thought Rangers were better in the first half. There was still some things they could improve on, but in the second half, there was nothing from either side. There was no aggression, there was no intensity, there was no urgency for the ball. There was there was nothing. The troops, and that hurts me to say. It's an old firm. All your players should be up for it, driving. Let's get into this mob. But no, it's just tippy tappy football, side to side. Look up like you're going to make a really good pass, and then go back the way again, and then go sideways. That's the style that Russell Martin wants him to play. The time of recording this video, Russell Martin's still in charge, but hopefully by the time this was posted, he is gone. Deadline day, as the time of recording the now. Only news I've heard so far is Raskin is apparently staying, which is great. Raskin is staying. No updates on Cyril Dessers, which Russell Martin said in his post-match interview that that was probably Cyril's last game for the club. But there's nothing. There's nothing trips apart for Cortez is out on a season loan. I think that boy for Everton's coming in. I think the left back Daniel Cornelius is coming in. But if you look at the bright side of life, Nico Raskin is staying, hopefully. And as you could hear, the loudest chant at Ibrox yesterday midday, 12 o'clock kick-off was Nico Raskin, who wasn't even in the squad. Every single voice in Ibrox was chanting as loud as they can for Nico Raskin's name. And then Russell Martin claims he can't hear it. He's either half deaf or he just hates Big Nico. Now we're going to go to the squad review. We'll start off with your man, Super Jackie B, Mr. Jack Butland, who I thought never had a save to make. That's how boring an old firm is. Well, how boring that old firm was. Jack Butland, who's called into action every single game. Dundee gave this man a harder game. But no, troops, no. I don't think Celtic got a shot on target apart from where the ones that it literally Butland could just crouch down and grab. But anyway, back to the player reviews. Mr. James Tavernier, he was okay. Listen, I like Connor Barron, right? But never, ever, Russell Martin put Connor Barron on a set piece again. The one time we get someone that's not Connor Barron, aka Tav, our set piece taker. We've put a set piece taker on a set piece, and we've only gone and scored for it. Suter leaps through the air, headers it down in to the back of the net, but as soon as Sky Sports paused it on Suter's position, you could tell he was offside. I was gutted for the big man. I don't even think he knew he scored. It was the most soapy Suter thing ever. He just goes up, headers the ball, lands flat in his face, and then sits up and goes, "I've just scored." It's the most soapy Suter thing you could ever see in your life, but it was offside. Going over to your centre back duo, Jigger and Suter, they were all right. Jigger, though, he had a lot of mistakes where the ball was in between Butland and Jigger. Butland could have picked it up. He should be screaming for that ball. But then Jigger just decides, nah, you're not getting this, and then just boots it out for a throw. And then Celtic attack from there. But That was some of Jagger's mistakes. I liked how we played. We most of the time when Butland had the ball, we didn't play about at the back. But the one time he did it, he did play Celtic through and goal. But they didn't score. We didn't concede, which is always a positive to take. But we also didn't score, which is a negative. But one man that I think deserves a lot of credit in that back line, young Jaden Megoma. I can't really clap because I've got the mic in my hand, but Jaden deserves credit. Jaden Megoma, what a game this guy had. What a game this guy had. He never gave Nygren an easy time. He was going forward a lot, but then he went forward a bit too much, and then Celtic were through, obviously, but it never caused anything. Moving on to our midfield, Dio, I thought he was okay at best. Connor Barron, outstanding young man. Outstanding Connor Barron. Hats off to Connor Barron. He was probably one of the man of the match contenders. Obviously was up there with Jaden Megoma. I think it was about a tie between my man of the match between Megoma and Barron. Asgard, I really wanted them to do well, but another poor game from Big Tello. Your wingers, Mikey Moore and Gassama. The gas man. Our best player so far this season. They looked like they were being controlled with a controller. They looked like it was basically, right, let's make a run up the wing. Nope, let's go back the way. We're not going to take on our men. We're just going to try and do some just Raheem Sterling. They honestly looked like Raheem Sterling. See the way they tried to take on a man. It didn't even look like they were taking on the man, to be honest. But it's so hard to explain. Like it looks like as soon as the defender came closer, they just kind of stopped and then tried to go back the way. But I thought it was a poor game from them two. And I thought in the first half, obviously Rangers were dominant. The game should have been done in the first half. We should have got a penalty through who I'm moving on to. Big Bojan, Big Majovsky, the man who comes straight into the team. In the first half, I thought he done well, showed some physicality, shows that he's a real bully. The last time we had that was Alfredo Morelos, which was 3 seasons ago, I believe. But no, Big Majovsky, I thought he done well in the first half, but then obviously everyone was quite poor the second half. So yeah, that's the team review. Overall, not good enough. Not good enough. A few of my friends that are Celtic supporters said to me, "This is an absolute brilliant result for you." I don't think it was. Rangers should have won the game. Rangers should have won the game. Second half, Rangers and Celtic were both as bad as each other. But see, the thing is, that's the worst Celtic team I've ever seen in my whole time watching football. That's one of the worst Celtic teams I've ever seen. And we can't even score a goal. We can't even get a shot on target. We can't even put the ball in the back of the net. But it's just overall poor. Um, but no, there was one. There was a lack of pressing the ball. I thought we didn't press the ball enough. There was one where I think it was Schmeichel who passed it out. It was a bit loose. It was between Carter Vickers and the ball went ahead of him. Where you've got, I think it may have been Big Bojan or Gassama. Nobody pressed it. It was a ball that I thought if it was out of our favour, I'm sure Maeda would have latched onto it. But no troops. Gassama and Miovski just set off. I don't know if it was tired legs or whatnot, but you've got to work for that ball. You've got to work. And it looks like that's what we lacked that full game. There was also something that really surprised me as well, where usually, obviously, the players, if they're like injured or left out the squad and such, get a ticket from ourselves. and 4 tickets for their family. Obviously, I don't know if you saw the Instagram post. Dujon Sterling was there, but if you look at Nico Raskin's Instagram post, he's watching the first Old Firm of the season in his house, sitting on the couch. This is the first Old Firm of the season. Even if you're left out the squad, you should at least get a seat. You should at least get in the stadium. You should at least get in the ground. But no, he sat on his sofa and he put up on his story, "Let's go with the team." That just shows that Nico Raskin cares about this club. He loves this club, and this club loves him. But I think we've got to get Russell Martin out before he gets Raskin out. The guy plays in the same midfield as Kevin De Bruyne and Tielemans, but he can't play in a midfield with Connor Barron and Tello Asgard. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, troops. But that was my thoughts on the game. I thought the atmosphere was the best bit of the game, to be honest. If you did enjoy this, make sure you subscribe. We're going to try and hit 200 subscribers. We just hit 100. I think we're at 107 right now, which is absolutely amazing. You've all smashed it out the park. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.